Welcome to Tent Talk, the podcast with Nancy McCready, where we talk about life under the big tent of God's presence and the provoking process of discipleship. Here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tent Talk. This is Nancy McCready. Short thoughts for a short week. Here are 4 short episodes that are going to encourage you when things are looking like you are your least productive, you're not feeling very fruitful, you may even be feeling barren. These are the episodes for you. Listen in very carefully because the word tells the barren woman to sing. So that's for men and women. For the barren, the ones who look like they can't produce anything, oh, it's time to sing. So take a listen. I hope they encourage you to go deeper with Him. And also, I hope you'll connect with me over at theproducersway.com. Check it all out. Thanks. All right, another short thought for a short week here on Tent Talk. So I'm so glad that we're together. My friends, you don't produce prayer. Oh, how this has taken me time over the years. Let me tell you that I used to avoid prayer, and I would find that I would become so resistant to prayer, and I would literally feel the draw to go and pray, to intercede, to spend time with God. And then I would be like, oh, I'm going to get my to-do list done. My house was never cleaner, drawers never more organized, running errands. Oh, I've got to get this done. Things I had let go for a while. But there were times when I knew that God was drawing me into prayer, and I felt such resistance and such a drive to get all these other things done. And then, of course, there'd be the cycle of guilt and frustration. And eventually, God began to talk to me. He said, Nancy, you are avoiding prayer because you think you have to produce it. Because when you think about everyone and everything that needs to be covered in prayer, you suddenly feel the onslaught of the burden of that, as though you've got to produce prayer. And He began to talk to me about, Nancy, you just come to me. And He began to talk me in off the ledge, if I can say it that way. He said, you come to me, sit with me. I'm going to share things with you, and you're going to come to think like me. So sometimes I would sit with Him for minutes, an hour, a couple of hours, depending on the day. And He would talk with me, tell me how He thought about things from the Word and speak directly to me. And then He'd say, now let's pray that out. And I might only pray out loud for 5 minutes, not necessarily with lots of shouting, but basically declaring this is the way it's going to be. And He would prepare me for the day and things that were coming. It was such a huge shift in my times of conversation with God, my times of prayer. And I realized I was trying to produce prayer. And the moment I thought I had to do it, I've got to figure out what to say. I've got to do all of this. I've got to be fervent and effective. And I would get tired within a split second. And so I would just not pray.
For more information on Nancy, please visit nancymccready.com or follow her on social media at NBMcCready.
So I'm sharing this short thought with you about this, that you don't produce prayer. If I could say it this way, you just step into the private place with Him. You let Him begin to speak to you. Whether I usually have to be reading something, open up the Word, I read a particular book He's brought to my attention, and it starts to provoke me. I need structure oftentimes when it comes to focused times of prayer. And so this is where we don't want to try to have a formula. We want to have fellowship, and that takes time. And so be encouraged today that you don't produce prayer, but you can participate in it, in the conversations with your Father. He will direct you. He will speak to you. And once you know what he thinks about something and what his will is maybe on that, as he shares that with you, he takes the responsibility to share that with you. Then speak that out. Say that, Father, I'm in agreement with you about this. I see now what you're doing, and I agree and want to declare and to release that now, that your will would be accomplished. And there are things that he will teach you and show you. This is why I so encourage people, get to the Father's table and be there with him and let him begin to really, cultivate and develop that intimacy, and you be the responder in that, and then pray that out. And I'm certain that you and he then will have your unique fellowship. We're all related to him the same through Christ, but our fellowship with him is unique to who we are, to him, how he wants to speak to us. So be encouraged with that today. I know I'm talking to producers, but remember this, producers cannot produce anything. Ultimately, we live through that time. So I pray that this will encourage you to go in with him. So just a short thought on a short week. Love you all.
If you'd like information on how to book Nancy McCready for an event or speaking engagement, visit nancymccready.com.